If this doesn't represent Indiana's stamp on the world, then what does? This is May. This is Indianapolis.
Drivers, start your engines!
This is the time Hoosiers celebrate the greatest spectacle in racing. And this, our month-long commitment to provide perspective on how the business of motorsports is driving big bucks into the Hoosier economy.
Joseph Newgarden is a two-time Indy 500 winner! Oh my goodness!
This is Inside Indiana Business, Business at the Brickyard, presented by Liuna with support from the City of Westfield and Daniels Family Vineyard and Winery.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gerry Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and Liuna.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick, coming to you once again this week from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we continue our Business at the Brickyard series all month long. We are in Gasoline Alley at IMS, which is really where it all happens during the month of May. It all comes together, the speed, precision, cutting-edge technology, strategy sessions, and last-minute adjustments, all to prepare these high-priced machines to compete. How high-priced? Well, a Dallara chassis, as an example, runs about $350,000. A Honda or Chevy engine lease, more than $1 million per season. It's estimated the total value of the 33 cars in the field is well over $100 million. And that's just the equipment. Doesn't include salaries, logistics, R&D, marketing, and a number of other costs. And joining me now is Rollie Helmling. Rollie, a longtime motorsports insider and executive, one-time head of USAC, based here in Indianapolis, big promoter of the sport around the globe. Rollie, thanks for joining me.
Gary, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. Hey, you know, people look at the impact of motorsports, the business of motorsports, how substantial it is in Indianapolis and even more broadly Indiana. But beyond that, globally, you talk of three centers of influence, really, when it comes to motorsports around the globe.
Sure. There are three centers of influence, as you say, that are very significant in the industry. However, they compete, but not totally. The first one would be in the center of the UK.
We are in the United Kingdom at the Silverstone circuit.
Around the Silverstone circuit. The Silverstone circuit is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the UK. It's where they have the British Formula One Grand Prix every year.
Lights out, away we go. George Russell gets a good getaway. Lewis Hamilton tucks in behind. Watch out.
The bulk of the Formula One teams and many of the World Endurance Challenge racing teams are headquartered in the center of the UK, in the Midlands, around the Silverstone circuit. The second center of influence or excellence for motorsports, of course, would be Charlotte. And of course, Charlotte is very NASCAR-centric, very stock car-centric. Then when we come to our home, Indiana, we are much more diverse. Obviously, we're here at this magnificent facility that does so much to brand the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis. But not only are the bulk of the IndyCar teams here, but much of the industry is here. And then you couple that with a very significant presence with drag racing, with the National Hot Rod Association, which owns Indianapolis Raceway Park, and then the open wheel portion.
Spot side by side down the backstretch.
And that's all the cars that race on the little dirt tracks, of which we have 50 in Indiana. And so when you couple IndyCar, drag racing, and open wheel short track racing, we are very diverse here. And it certainly brings a great element to our economy. And in addition to that, it also creates a lot of jobs with a very vibrant supply chain.
Yeah, as you look at the investment here in Indianapolis and around the state, $50 million in improvements here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You've got F1, the teams. You believe this is really one of the hottest times for motorsports that you've seen.
Oh, it really is. When we stop and think about it, when we look at what Andretti, TWG Global, Cadillac is doing to bring Formula One here, this will truly be the only U.S.-based Formula One team. The impact of that is so significant between the new facility in Fishers, what they're doing on the north side of Indianapolis with the former Star Printing facility. And then we have a new IndyCar team called Prima, which has come from Italy. We're adding almost 800,000 square feet of additional race shop, primarily on the north side of Indianapolis.
And when you talk about those jobs, the engineers, the technicians, the science, technology, engineering, and math educated, those are jobs that pay above the average.
They sure are. For the most part, they're about 120% of the state average. And these are very highly educated technical people.
As you look at strengths, I think you've talked a little bit about some of those strengths here now, but is there one thing that really sets Indianapolis and Indiana apart from competitors?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is the brand. You know, people associate Indianapolis and Indiana with the 500, and that's worldwide. Another thing that I think is a very valid point about what motorsports brings to our community and our state is the technology transfer. When we look at what we learn from motorsport and how it can apply to other industries, such as advanced automotive, aviation, aerospace, high-tech materials like composite. And then we also look, there's a very close relationship between motorsports and the defense industry. So it brings a lot more here than just the races.
How about challenges? What are the threats to Indianapolis and Indiana from a competition standpoint?
Well, from a racing competition, I'd have to say Formula One. Now, the recent uptick in Formula One, now with 3 F1 races in the United States. Of course, we saw one just recently in Miami, which was very popular. What's happening is racing fans are becoming more and more Formula One fans. And the concern there is that it might be taking a little bit away from what's near and dear to us here in Indiana.
Well, as we wrap up, what about promotion, marketing, if you will, of that brand of Indianapolis and Indiana? How important, how critical is that going forward?
You know, it's very important because we sometimes, I think, underestimate the value of the brand and what motorsports brings to our state. It's a very significant industry. And so not just all of us who are racing enthusiasts, racing fans, but our entire state needs to totally be promoting this very unique industry and exciting events that we have that are unique to Indiana.
Rollie Helmling, always some great perspective.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
So much more business at the Brickyard content to share with you, including the Italian Indy connection, helping to drive more women into motorsports. When the rubber meets the road, Hoosier Racing Tire out of Plymouth, Indiana, is king. The company is considered the largest race tire manufacturer in the world, and the winner of the Indiana Chamber's Coolest Thing Made in Indiana contest in 2023. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where in just a few days, drivers will hit this famed 2.5-mile oval to begin practice to make a run at the coveted pole for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. Well, you know, when you talk about seismic shifts in the world of motorsports over the past few years, and not just sitting in the cockpit. Let's send it over now to Mary Rachel Redmond, who has that story.
It's been that for Scott Dixon today. He is the winner of the 92nd Indianapolis 500-mile race.
From Scott Dixon to Graham Rahal, everyone knows the name of the drivers, but the team behind these household names are just as important. And right now, there's a shortage of both mechanics and data engineers in racing, especially in IndyCar and Formula One. Enter MTS, the Italian-based motorsport technical school now up and running on Indy's northwest side.
Is a school aimed to prepare the new generation to work in racing, and so they can expect for sure to be a very hands-on, where they can learn the ropes to go into teams and be prepared to what their work environment is going to present to them.
MTS has been training some of Europe's most talented race mechanics and engineers for well over a decade. The woman-owned and founded school is helping to bolster the talent pipeline in motorsports with a hands-on approach.
So they're actually learning how to do the things that they're going to do in the real world. So it gives them a lot of confidence, gives them a lot of really, excellent translatable skills that go to all kinds of different cars. And it's not only just working on the cars, it's learning how to work together as a team.
MTS is 8 straight weeks of weekend courses tailored for anyone interested in becoming a racing mechanic or data engineer, like 20-year-old Riley Lynch, who graduated from Hamilton Southeastern High School and is now part of the first class of students that began classes last weekend.
I went to college for a semester, and I figured out it really wasn't for me. Finding this opportunity and being able to work on race cars and use my passion to sustain a living is also an opportunity that I never thought I would get, and be able to get into this world that's not super easy to get into.
Rosella Manfrenato, COO of MTS, tells me the school has successfully placed 80% of its graduates onto racing teams around the world in a number of different series, from F1 to MotoGP and IndyCar.
In racing, there's the need for good people involved in the sport. There is a void that we can fill in that sense, and the technologies have been elevating all the time. It's getting complex to work on some items, an aspect of it. So for sure, I think that we're trying to place ourselves in that spot.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
We begin this week in Boone County, where Eli Lilly and Company is taking a leap into a first-of-its-kind facility. Company breaking ground on its $4.5 billion Medicine Foundry in Lebanon's Leap Innovation District, which will include process development and advanced manufacturing and some 400 jobs. The goal? To streamline the process of discovering new medicines and bringing more key research operations to the United States. Indianapolis International Airport is stepping into its next big thing. A transatlantic flight is back at the airport for the first time since the pandemic. The flight to Dublin, Ireland will fly 4 days per week.
This is a world-class city. It needs to be connected to the world at large, and Aer Lingus gives us that wonderful connection.
According to the airport, more than 500 people currently travel from Indianapolis International to Europe each day. 3 subsidiaries of Elkhart-based Thor Industries are planning to lay off more than 400 people in northern Indiana. The company makes RVs and did not provide a reason for the layoffs. It is estimated the area manufactures 1 out of every 2 recreational vehicles on the road today. A $60 million FedEx distribution center is coming to Northwest Indiana. Gary Mayor Eddie Melton says the facility, which will be next to Gary Chicago International Airport, will bring 600 new jobs to the area. FedEx cites proximity to highways and a strong local community workforce as reasons for the decision. An Indiana facility is continuing to grow the legacy of Anne Frank. A Jackson County nursery propagates trees descended from the tree Frank wrote about in her diary. This week, 4 of those trees headed to permanent homes at schools around the country. So far, 21 saplings grown in Indiana have been distributed through the Anne Frank Center, USA.
We're the only partner organization that continued to grow the trees. So we have propagated more trees from the original, and I hope that as we continue to grow the trees, we can ship them abroad and really just keep it going. It's a living memorial.
Well, coming up next,
the biggest single-day sporting event in the world creates a mind-boggling amount of trash. We'll tell you how IMS is revving up its waste diversion efforts.
welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and our Business at the Brickyard series. This is a place where green is taking on a whole new meaning.
Get ready. Green.
Well, green, one of the big themes here at the racing capital of the world, whether it's a flag or carpet. Let's send it to Inside Indiana Business Health reporter Kylie Valletta with what it all means for the environment and sustainability.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is raising a glass to several new recycling efforts this May. Just one of them, all of the glass from behind bars will be sent to another Hoosier company.
The largest single-day sporting event in the world delivers thrills like none other. And trash from 300,000 spectators. IMS launched its waste diversion program in 2019, but is shifting to a higher gear this May.
plates and forks in the green, please.
For the first time, all empty glass bottles from alcohol served at bars the entire month of May will be sent to Knopf, headquartered in Shelbyville. Every day, Knopf uses 10 rail cars full of recycled glass to make fiberglass insulation. The glass is melted, made into fiber, then cut into insulation for commercial and home use. Another new effort this year is composting. IMS suites and catering kitchens have been composting behind the scenes for years. Now the track wants fans to get in on the action.
Yeah, Revs green this year.
Partygoers at Rev were the very first fans to take composting for a test drive.
It's kind of a systemic issue as guests don't really know. It's not that they're not wanting to make a behavior switch. They just aren't educated on where to correctly place their waste. So as guests approach, they're kind of like playing this game as which color is my waste going to go in?
Rev is a testing ground of sorts that will help IMS learn how to introduce composting to race fans at even bigger events in the years to come.
We're about an hour and a half into the event, and this is our fourth composting bag that we've had to replace at this station alone.
From cocktails to composting, giving green new meaning at IMS.
This facility was built back in 1909 with the spirit of automotive innovation and technology in mind, and now we're continuing that tradition and that spirit in the terms of sustainability, trying to find new ways to keep our waste out of landfill, reduce our energy, and reduce our emission.
IMS tracks its waste diversion numbers, and they've improved every year. They're hoping for an even bigger jump this year. Now back to Gary with this week's Eye on Education.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Well, so much tradition and history here in Speedway, Indiana, and pride. Much of it starting at a very early age in school. Good example, the Speedway High School Regiment Marching Band, which has played a unique role in the Indianapolis 500 celebration for decades.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Speedway is the only high school allowed to wear the Wing and Wheel logo on their uniforms, in addition to performing in the 500 Festival Parade.
Walking across the track and even into the stadium, it's thrilling. It's amazing to be able to do something that no other high school band is able to do.
The band's music can be heard on race morning into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ball State leaders hosted a beam signing event this week as work on its $21.3 million Center for Innovation and Collaboration continues. It's designed to connect Ball State faculty and students with community and corporate partners to solve problems and explore potential opportunities. The center will feature lab, studio, and meeting space when it opens in the fall. Spring is the season of growth for Holy Cross College in northern Indiana, the school kicking off a multi-year athletic complex expansion while also breaking ground on a new residence hall. The $12 million housing project, the first new on-campus housing at Holy Cross in a decade. The first phase of the athletics project will focus on upgrades to the soccer stadium, which should be complete by the fall.
Well, when we come back, the statewide impact of motorsports in Indiana.
167 appearances at the Tri-State Speedway.
How it starts on the dirt for some racers and what it means for the small towns in Indiana.
Next on a state proving quality.
Lawrenceburg Speedway, we got them racked, we got them stacked, and we've got the grandstands packed. Let's go racing up at turn number 4.
Well, this is how many professional race drivers start, in the dirt, on small oval tracks.
It's time to drop the hammer!
This one tucked inside turn 3 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It has become a very popular venue. But there are many other tracks like this scattered across Indiana. One of them, the Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt, about 15 miles north of Evansville.
Listen to the roar! Slowly in 3. They'll be flying off 4. Watch them now!
Everything's pretty clean, ready to go. All our spare gears and spare parts and stuff.
A new track record. Kyle Cummins, the 3R car down here on the front chute's got to be feeling feisty.
Princeton, Indiana's king of the track, Kyle Cummins. At 37, he's carved out his place in the dirt as a big winner on racetracks across the country.
He's going to start his season off with victory. Kyle Cummins.
Got this sick trophy here.
He's going to take $10,500 to Princeton, Indiana. The victory goes to Kyle Cummins.
For winning the Western World, that big piece of aluminum came with the hat.
Racing is in Kyle's blood.
First got started, my dad raced ever since I was young. He ran sprint cars, and that kind of got me into just going to the racetrack, and then they got me a little go-kart to drive around the backyard, and actually made a pretty cool track in our backyard that I think I got my first go-kart when I was 4. It's a feeling like whenever like you set someone up or make a certain kind of pass, like just a feeling, right? Like when you go in the corner, the car's like set up right, and it kind of gets gripped up, and it's all twisted, and it's just like that feeling you get like going through the corner.
Cummins' drive and love for the sport is a testament to Hoosier grassroots racing. Short ovals, dirt tracks, all part of the more than $1 billion motorsports pumps into the Indiana economy. Racing at this level, it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not cheap.
It's just expensive, right? It's a very expensive sport. On a weekend that we go, let's say we run 2 races. I'd say it's roughly $2,500 a night, basically to drop the door, and anywhere from $25,000 to $5,000, right? When you expense everything out, like motor rebuilds, you got tires, equipment that's the truck and trailer, getting the oil change. I mean, there's a lot of. It's not just show up to the race and you're done, right? And that night doesn't cost much out of your pocket, and you might make a little bit back. It's the wear and tear on the tires. Tires are $330 a piece. We might go through 3 or 4 of them in a night. And then you got pit passes for all the team. You got the hotel rooms, diesel for the truck. Then you're putting 30 gallons of alcohol in the race cars. It costs a bunch to go up and down the road.
The investment is paying off for Kyle Cummins and his team. He's got more than a dozen top 10 finishes under his belt, and is approaching his 25th career USAC sprint car win. And he has lofty goals for this season.
My plan is to, win the USAC championship. That's our main goal, right? It's a lot of money stuffed in here to go up and down the road, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's a nice deal.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of our special Business at the Brickyard coverage. We'll be back here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week with more news from the track and business news from around Indiana. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gerry Dick. Go out and make it a successful week.